In this video we're having an LG VCR, one of the last ones really made, probably around 2005. GC480W by the look of it. It's got NTSC playback, long play and record, easy graphic menu and video doctor, crystal live picture. Yeah, pretty sure this came out around the 2005 era. GC480W, made in Indonesia, as some of the later ones were. These were right at the end of the video recorder era. I think a lot of them were selling for about $89 at this stage, and there were some even cheaper ones I think might have come out in the year or two after this. I'm not sure if they were LG or other brands, but there was one that was actually fully plastic, that had no more metal cover on it. That's the remote for it. A 6711R1P073B. Nice easy part number to remember. And yeah, I did put some batteries in this because I just used it. This actually belonged to a friend and he wanted me to sell it, and it's been sitting around here for quite a while. And I actually used it to transfer a tape that I found in another machine that I saved from the e-waste, because that machine, the hi-fi audio wasn't working on it. And when I put it in one of the Panasonic machines I got, one of the later model ones, it had a lot of dropouts on the screen, like bad heads or something. This played it fairly well. There's still some dropouts, so I think it was generally just a bad tape. But this was the first thing I saw that was easy to move, because I'd already dug it out to remind me I need to get it sold. So it just happened to be useful for dubbing that across to put on the internet. Some 2006 adverts and stuff from local TV stations that I saved off it. Got the LG actually embossed in the top there, which is kind of a nice feature. But what I'm going to do is just, now that I've actually tested it, which was one of the things I wanted to do, was give it a decent run. So it got a 4-hour tape put through it and lots of fast forward and rewind and all that sort of thing. Ran perfectly well as it should, since I don't think it's ever got much use. And now I'm just going to give the heads a clean and just give the whole machine a clean, I guess, the tape path, before I try and sell the thing off. Probably only worth about $50 or something. It's got a few little tiny scratches. That's one of these ones with a little clip on the back. And what else we got? We've got RF in and out, audio and video or AV out on the back. I think it had a front one for in. Surely they still have that feature. Yeah, audio in on the front, or audio and video in, I should say. AV in, yeah, these little basic mechs. I think I repaired a few of these under warranty, because I actually worked for an LG agent a couple of years after 2005. And I soon remember pulling these mechs out. Yeah, you just pull the erase head connector there, the drum, undo 4 screws I think, and this whole thing comes out. Pretty simple little mech. I think they might have used these in some of their TV videos as well. Can't remember what actually went wrong with them. Some of these had issues with like caps in the power supply in the secondary, and the power supply wouldn't fire up or something. Not sure about mechanical issues, but I do vaguely remember maybe the idler or something in these. But if they sell enough of them, they will play up. And I think at that stage it was also when a lot of this stuff wasn't repaired under warranty anymore, because it was just so cheap. They just take it back to the retailer and they'd send it back to the mainland and they'd crush it and get their, or maybe they went through them and checked some of them maybe and sold them as seconds, and the rest would get crushed and they'd get their excise duty or whatever they paid the government back out for importing it, and just, yeah, get rid of the things. They just had to be destroyed, I think, in some way or other. But that's what ended up happening with all this low-end sort of stuff. But looks perfectly fine here. Yeah, low-use machine, hardly anything on the caps, and I doubt if this thing's ever been cleaned. I thought I might as well just have a quick look at it. And now that I've used it, I'll sort of refresh myself. This is like got that sort of turbo fast forward and rewind. Yeah, nothing even coming off the heads even after playing that old tape. But we'll give it a decent clean. The on-screen menu is actually kind of annoying. They did it just so there is a little bit of a green display there. We'll look at it in a minute when I power it up. But the on-screen display, to actually get the counter up, you've got to, which of course I was using, trying to, once you know how often in the program or how long the segment of program is between the ad breaks, like I think it was about every 6 minutes or something on the tape I had. It was just one evening, 4 hours of one evening's recordings of all the shows on. you can just use the counter to fast forward, do an ad break, and then fast forward 6 odd minutes to the next one. But this one you had to keep putting it on the, what button was it? Or was it just the OK button? I know I had to get it on the screen, flick through several things to get to the actual tape counter, and then I had to remember to actually flick it off, which was annoying because the digitizer I was using came up on the screen of the computer over some of the picture, which covered, of course, where the counter was. So I had to take that off and then take the counter off. In the end, I was just remembering to hit the OK button would get rid of it. But yeah, I'm not a fan of on-screen counters and stuff, just because they tend to be difficult to use, but you do have to press about 3 buttons to get through several on-screen things before you get the counter up. And then of course it's on screen, so if you record anything or digitize it, you're going to digitize the counter as well. And they probably could have put it on the front display. I don't know why they didn't. Would have been more use. Even just a basic counter on the front's better than one on the screen, really. But especially when you've got to go to an effort each time to get the counter up. But I guess by this stage it's just a basic low-level consumer machine. They're not expecting anyone to actually do anything other than watch a few videos on it, maybe record the odd thing. So it's just made to be very basic, but yeah, no good if you actually want to do anything technical, because they're just rather frustrating sort of things. I get the usual little blank clock because it's not set, I guess. It says high, but yeah, it's a very basic LED display, not even a fluoro one, so they went for ultimate cheapness on these things. Very minimalist sort of machine. Looks like it laces up and plays when there's no record tab. Yeah, give it a nice clear picture. So we do use the OK button, is all we've got to press on to get the on-screen display up for counter and stuff. Comes up with play SP auto, which is telling us what the tape is. Looks like there's a bunch of blank dashes down the bottom, which looks like a clock and possibly the date. And we press it again, we get just a clock in the bottom corner. Press it again, we finally get our counter. And now the tracking is on these up and down button. So when we put the tape in, we get a red tape in little indicator. And like I said, if it's the tab's missing, it'll go straight into play. Are they going to call it Q and review by the look of it? Probably because they couldn't fit anything else on their alphanumeric display. Still. Well, that's one way of causing it. Calling the pause, I guess what they call it, pause/still or P/still. And we've got to press play to get it back out. Stop. See, we've got eject. Noisy machine. Oh yeah. How did I double? I must have pressed, it must have been in stop. Oh yeah, this tape's got the tab in it, so it's going into stop. I accidentally ejected it because I thought it was going to play. Let's see if we can get it into high speed rewind here. It's right at the end of the tape. So it's going to have a bit of a feel or whatever. Test of the tape. Also makes it difficult, like the Panasonics, when you're doing these things, you try and fast forward 6 minutes. It is very difficult to actually get the 6 minutes because it's going so fast. You hit stop or play and it takes ages to slow down, so you've got to stop at about 2 minutes before the mark you want. It's that slow to slow down. If we hit OK, first thing we get the play, standard play, auto, and that I assume if you fill in the date and time, shows you that. just the clock, and that's the counter finally. So it shows you how much is on the tape. I guess that's what, start and end maybe. We've got a little black bar for the end, or how much is left until the end. The white bar is how much has actually been played. And can we reset that? Clear? Yeah, clear resets it by the look of it. And yeah, when we go into fast forward or rewind, it actually loses the, at least vision search, we lose the counter. When it's getting towards the end of the tape like that, it's not going to fast forward at super high speed because it's getting to the end, of course. And it can tell from the differential speeds of the reels. And then it slows down as it's getting towards the end of the tape. So yeah, just use the OK button to get that on screen up. When you press that one, it does seem to actually go into fast forward. Press that one, it goes into still or slow rewind. Of course, you've got the rewind and fast forward. Looks like that gets in a long play. Yeah, if I press that, we get SP and then LP on the on screen and on the display of the video. But of course, if you play something that's SP standard play or standard speed, it'll just automatically switch back. But if we record something after pressing LP, it'll do a long play, so you can get up to 8 hours out of a 4-hour tape sort of thing. So we've got the AV input. Oh, that's for the TV. So we've got a few TV functions: program, volume, AV in, and power. That's even got an eject button. Locks, yeah, some of these I think have child lock on them. So that's the menu. What do we got? Record, is that the timer? Yeah, looks like so it is. Hour, day, month, year, and I guess channel you probably got to put in. Program set, PR set, antenna thing, ACMS, is that something to do with finding programs or something? Time and date set, system, yeah, auto, PAL, MC cam. They did have NTSC on the front, I think. NTSC playback. Maybe that's the main system there. What is that? So that's the video doctor. What have we got? Head status okay. I guess it can detect if the heads are clogged maybe. Tape status recordable. Number of timer program. Maybe if it's recording, it'll tell you what recording program you're in. Next timer program. On-screen display, okay, language. On-screen, on or off. So you can turn it completely off maybe. Let's turn it off. Except it won't let me. Or maybe it has. Yeah, it looks like we got rid of it. But I doubt we have a counter or anything. So yeah, it just gets it off the screen if it annoys you. But you still don't get a counter on the display or anything. So it looks like you just set it, you don't have to even press OK, you just hit menu to get out of it. But that's basically an overview of that machine. I'll stick the cover back on it, give that a quick clean up. And yeah, it's probably worth $50–60 or something I guess these days. Might be good for someone who wants to transfer some tapes or something. But that's what these later machines are like. Kind of smaller, plasticky things. Most of them never got a lot of use, so a lot of them are still going fine because they just never got hammered like the earlier machines, which people would watch hours and hours of video a week. And they'd have to rewind all those tapes and stuff, and of course it took its toll on the machines. Whereas a lot of these later ones are still out there for sale running because they probably had very little use. And most of these mechs, I think where I'm remembering these mechs from, of course, is most of these were then replaced, even though these were only like $90 and a DVD player wasn't much different. People tend to go and pay $300 to $400 to get a combined VCR and DVD. So that's where I'd be familiar with those mechs because they were a much more expensive machine. And I did fix a lot of them under warranty But that's the end of this video, so thanks for watching.